Mr. John, sir. Mr. John, sir, great morning to I, Dr. Jayashree Murli, welcome you on behalf of IICMR. So, great morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you.
Thanks a lot for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Sir, our HOD ma'am still be addressing you.
Yeah. A very good morning, Mr. Gordon.
Good morning. It's actually it's evening for me.
Excited to see you.
So we'll sharply start at 9:30.
Is my lighting okay?
Yes.
Sir, your voice is okay. And this is the national level webinar series where the students from all over India are participating. They are generally a graduate and postgraduate, most probably are MBA students. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah. Jayashree ma'am, shall we start?
No.
We can start not in Abhay sir has director sir also joined.
Okay. Students, good morning and happy thoughts to everybody.
Mr. John sir, our director Dr. Abhay Kulkarni sir has joined. He's wishing you.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, thank you. And nice to accept our invitation.
My pleasure.
And very much important today to be positive.
Very important to be positive right now. Yes.
Right. Because everywhere, because of Corona, the atmosphere is negative and people are not so positive. So you are the right person to talk and give guidance and motivate not only students but faculty members as well.
Thank you. I'm honored to be with you all.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's like almost 9:00 p.m. where I am. I guess it's in the morning for you all, right?
I know. It's evening for you. Yeah. Towards night. Yes.
Night. But good morning to you all.
And after the lecture, good night.
Right. I'll be going to bed. Yes.
I was talking to my son today morning. He's in LA, Los Angeles, right?
Oh, he's in Los Angeles.
He's working in NVIDIA.
Where's he working?
He's working in NVIDIA.
Okay.
NVIDIA. He's a program architect for software company and he's working for Google driven car, that is navigation systems.
Navigation systems.
Yes.
I'm in Los Angeles right now as well.
Yeah. Very nice. So
I usually live in Florida though, which is on the East Coast. So really it's almost midnight, my usual time.
Yeah. He has shifted to Milpitas. Milpitas, you might be knowing.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. So how is the educational system going on in US?
In the US, what?
Educational systems that...
the educational system?
After pandemic, whether they have started, sir?
The educational system is in the US is a lot of it is virtual right now, online and virtual.
Okay. That's true. And Same is here in India. We have taken a lot of pause, so students are distracted, teachers are also distracted. So it is my responsibility to bring them on the road.
Get them focused back on track.
Engage, and focus. Both very important. The biggest thing that we need to do is keep them motivated. Otherwise they get defocused.
Yes.
I think.
Well, if you have a purpose and you have a purpose and a plan and you have positivity, you'll be focused.
Yes. Nicely narrated. Our institute is located in Pune. Are you aware of Pune, India?
What about India?
Pune, the location where our institute is located.
Where are you located?
Yeah, near Mumbai.
Oh, near Mumbai.
So it is termed as Oxford of the East. Pune is termed as Oxford of the East.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I have not been to India yet, and I do want to take a visit there for sure.
Yes, we got to meet you when you please come in person and inspire us today.
Yes.
I would love to visit for sure.
Right.
Take a visit throughout the country. My good friends visit India. They Ariel Ford, and she was my agent for my first book, The Energy Bus, and she and her husband have visited all around India. They are good friends with Deepak Chopra.
Oh, great. Very nice. Very good. If you come to Pune, you will visit educational institutions where institutions like us, where we have lower KG to PhD. We have complete all the divisions, and we are very famous in quality of education in
All right.
Pune. So definitely we can plan for mutual understanding and development of each other. That will be great. And of course, intercultural, inter-state, inter-nation, cross-cultural communication is very important today, and that helps to develop the personality today. That is a need of time now.
I agree. We have to unite,
Yes.
connect,
Yes,
and share, collaborate, and learn and grow together.
that is where today's session will be very important. You can see on the backside, PMI is written on the backside. That is Project Management Institute, which is international. We have collaboration with them as well. Our students are doing projects with PMI professionals. Our students are getting training from project management professionals, PMP, and they get certification and they work on different projects apart from MBA. That is the need of time. That's how we collaborate.
Mostly technology projects?
Not necessarily management projects.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they work in different domains and business applications. So they use technology, definitely yes, but technology itself is not a project. Technology is leveraging their business functions for operational excellence. That is what the theme of all the projects generally we do. And
I love that.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, great. I worked in SKF Bearings. You might be knowing SKF India Limited. Bearing company, SKF.
What company?
SKF, Bearing company.
Escape?
F, Svenska Kulager Fabriken, where we reduce.
If for some reason, when anyone asks a question, if I can't hear them well, they could always type it in the chat.
Yes, that is what we are going to request them. Sure. Those will tap. And what Jayashree will do, she will coordinate the communication between the questions and you. Okay? Not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. How did you all hear about me?
Jayashree?
Yes, sir, we can start, sir. We can start.
No, he's asking question.
Yes.
How you came to know about?
Sir, you are a famous keynote speaker of throughout the world. So we thought like our students can be motivated by you, and that can create a turning point in their life.
I'm honored. Thank you.
It's nice.
Shall we start, sir?
John, can we start?
Oh, sure. Let's start. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. You can start, Jayashree.
So great morning to one and all. I welcome all the participants all over India for this national level webinar series. I request a student Kushi to introduce the speaker. Kushi?
Yes, ma'am. Can I start?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I, Khushi Singh, welcome the eminent resource person, Mr. John Gordon, our Institute Director, Dr. Avay Kulkarni, HOD Advocate Manisha Kulkarni, Fraternity of IICMR, faculty and the learning enthusiasts, and the aspiring managers and leaders all over the country. We thank Mr. John Gordon for accepting our invitation and address the August gathering in spite of his busy schedule. He is the best-selling author as well as keynote speaker. He has authored more than 20 books which has inspired the readers all over the world. His talks brings vibrant energy as well as enthusiasm among the audience. His principles have been put to the test by numerous Fortune 500 companies, professional and college sports teams, school districts, hospitals, and non-profits. His famous selling books are The Energy Burst, The Carpenter, Trading Camp, You Win in the Locker Room First, The Power of Positive Leadership, The Power of Positive Team, and The Coffee Bean, and his latest Stay Positive. John and his tips has been features on the Today's Show, CNN, CNBC, The Ghost Channel, Fox and Friends, and in numerous magazines and newspapers. His clients include the Los Angeles Dodgers, Campbell Soup, Dell, Publix, Southwest Airlines, Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Rams, Snapchat, BB&T Banks, Clemson Football, Northwestern Mutual, West Point Academy, and many more. John is graduate of Cornell University and holds a master's in teaching from Emory University. He and his training consulting company are passionate about developing positive leaders, organization, and learn. He is the right person to address the August gathering on the topic Leadership Positive Youth. Now I would request Mr. John Gordon to address the excited audience. Over to you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be with you all. Yeah, I'm excited to take questions and to talk about positive leadership and how to build positive teams. It's something I've talked a lot about in the United States and also have written books that have been shared around the world. Positive leaders have a vision of where they're going. They have a vision of what they want to create, what they want to build, what they want to design. They also have a purpose of why they're doing it. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. And so it's our why, it's our purpose, and it's our vision that allows us to move forward. Leaders need to carry a telescope and a microscope. This is sort of it's just not actually a telescope and a microscope, but metaphorically. A telescope is the big picture vision of where you're going. The microscope is the zoom focus actions you need to take each day to realize the picture in the telescope. And so every day we have to focus on what do we need to do today to build what we want to build, to create what we want to create. And so our vision is essential. When I wrote my first book, The Energy Bus, it was rejected by over 30 publishers. I was told to give up, but I couldn't give up because I had a vision. And my vision was to encourage and inspire millions of people, one person at a time. That kept me going. Just wanted to impact one person at a time and reach a lot of people over time. And that's what I did. Eventually it was published. It was published by a company called John Wiley and Sons, a publisher. And the book came out. It wasn't even sold in the United States. Bookstores would not even carry it. But for some reason, the book became very popular in South Korea. It was a bestseller in South Korea. And so it was a huge hit there. So I decided to go on a 20-city tour in the United States, paid for by myself. Publisher wouldn't even pay for it. And I went from city to city sharing the message in the book. And we had 5 people in one city, 10 people in another, 20 people. The most people we had were 100 people in a place called Des Moines, Iowa, a very remote part of the United States. And it wasn't a successful tour. The reason why they came to Des Moines, Iowa, they thought Jeff Gordon was coming. He's the race car driver in the United States, and that's why they showed up. When I got home, I didn't know what the future held, but I knew that I had this vision, and I had to live and breathe it every single day. And that's what I've been doing over the past 14 years now, of sharing this message of leadership, sharing the vision, trying to encourage and inspire as many people as possible, still doing it to this day. And when I got this invitation, I said, yes, I want to do this because that's my mission, right? One person at a time. If I can encourage and inspire one person right now on this Zoom, on this webinar, then this will have been worth it and I would have made a difference. And that's what it's all about. So leaders have a vision of where they're going and they encourage people along the way. Now, to be a positive leader, we're going to face adversity. We're going to face challenges. We're going to face setbacks. So being a positive leader is also about making sure that we stay positive through the challenges. We have to stay positive because if we don't, pessimism sets in. There's research from Duke University that shows that optimists work harder, they get paid more, and they're more likely to succeed in business and sports. And what they found was that because these optimists believe in a brighter and better future, they then take the actions necessary to create it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what we believe so often determines what we create. We have to believe with positive thoughts. We have to believe that our work will pay dividends, that we will achieve something together. And so as a leader, remember this, leadership is a transfer of belief. Leadership is a transfer of belief. You believe, but you have to transfer your belief to your team to inspire them to believe. You have to believe in them more than they believe in themselves. And so your belief matters. I just spoke to a sports team earlier called the Seattle Seahawks. They play in the NFL, the National Football League. I don't know if you know anything about the National Football League in the United States, but it's very popular. And the Seattle Seahawks are a great team. And their head coach is named Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll is a very positive leader. And he has built that program on positive leadership. And they always have success every year because of his leadership style and his belief in his team. And he said, my job as a leader is to make sure that they believe tomorrow will be better than today. Because there's so much pessimism in the world, we have to make sure that we give hope for the future. A leader is a dealer in hope, right? Sharing hope. Now, not false hope, right? Not fake hope, but real hope, real optimism. That if we work hard and we get together as a team and we work on our project, we work on our task, that we can accomplish this together. And we don't allow negativity to sabotage the team. Because too often people complain and they get negative and they get pessimistic. And then they're not able to do the work necessary to create the success that the team needs, right? So we have to make sure that we're feeding the positive and weeding the negative. I hope that makes sense. So am I making sense so far, Dr. Abhay?
Very much, very much.
Okay. So positivity is so important, leading with optimism. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have it, you can't share it. So you have to make sure you're feeding yourself every day. So that way you can feed others. You got to feed yourself so you can feed others. One of the best advice I ever heard was from Dr. James Gills, the only person on the planet to complete 6 double Ironman triathlons. That's an Ironman, which means, well, it's a double. It's a double iron. A day later, you do another. And then Pat said to listen to myself. He said, if I listen to myself, I hear all the fear, all the negativity, all the doubt, all the reasons why I can't finish this race. But if I talk to myself, I can feed myself with the words and the encouragement that I need to keep on moving forward. Who here needs to talk to themselves instead of listen to themselves? Because the negative voices and the negative thoughts are always coming in. But we don't have to listen to those negative thoughts. We can speak words of encouragement to those negative thoughts, words of encouragement to keep us moving forward, right? The word encourage means to put courage into. So when I encourage myself, I put courage into myself. When I encourage my team, I put courage into them. I give them courage by encouraging them. So positive leaders encourage their teams to move forward, to keep going, to keep working, and to believe that it's possible. But again, we have to feed ourselves in order to feed others. So make sure that you are staying positive and feeding yourself to help other people stay positive on your team. Now, there's a great story about a man who goes to the village to speak to the wise man. And he says to the wise man, I feel like there are two dogs inside me. I have a positive, optimistic, and energetic dog. And then I have a mean-spirited, angry, negative dog. And they fight all the time. I don't know who's going to win. And the wise man thinks for a moment and says, I know who's going to win. The one you feed the most. So feed the positive dog. And every day as a leader, we got to feed the positive inside of us. And whichever one we feed, that's what grows. Now, the best way to be positive, people always say, what's the best way to be positive? Gratitude. The research shows you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So if you're feeling grateful, if you're feeling thankful, you won't be stressed. So that's one of the best ways to overcome stress and fear is to practice gratitude. And that allows you to feed yourself with the positivity that you need to keep on moving forward. And by the way, when we take questions, you can ask me any questions on the things that I'm talking about. Now, what about negativity on your team? You might get some negativity, right? Well, Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. We want to make sure we don't allow anyone to walk through our minds or our team with their dirty feet. One person can't make a team, but one person can break a team. And so we have to make sure that everyone on the team is staying positive in order to have success together. And if someone is being negative, then they're going to sabotage the team. So the idea is to create a culture on the team that is optimistic, that believes, that has a positive mindset and outlook. And if you create that culture, then everyone on the team will probably most likely work to be part of that culture and be positive. You have to set the culture and say, this is the kind of team we're going to be. This is the kind of culture we're going to create. This is how we're going to approach our work. This is how we're going to deal with adversity and challenges and setbacks. We're not going to allow them to bring us down. We're going to stay positive. I work with the Miami Heat, and they started the season 11-30. They finished 30-11 because they stayed positive and didn't allow negativity to sabotage the team. And so being positive is really just a big part of success. Have you heard of Snapchat where you are? Snapchat's a successful company started by a guy named Evan Spiegel. And Evan Spiegel lives here in Los Angeles. And Evan reached out to me a few years ago. He read my book, The Power of Positive Leadership. And so Evan invited me to come speak to his leadership team. This was a few years ago. And on my way there, I called up Evan. I said, what do you want me to talk about? Like, these were really smart people. So I'm like, do you want me to talk about the cost, benefits, analysis of positivity? Do you want me to talk about the data and the research about positivity? Because I have all the research and data on that. Do you want me to talk about those things? He said, no, John. He said, just help us stay positive. Because Instagram was really coming after their business. On Wall Street, they were talking about how their business model was not working. They weren't going to be successful. The marketplace was giving them a hard time and being very negative in the news media and in the newspapers. They were facing a ton of negativity, and they found that internally they were being negative too. So I talked to Evan and his leadership team about staying positive and these very principles that we're talking about. And that company, that team would go on over the last couple of years to create amazing success. And Evan Spiegel, in an article in Fast Company and other magazines recently, talked about how staying positive was a huge part of their success. It wasn't me. I just reminded them of the truths and the importance of being positive. But they focused on creating success from the inside out, not outside in, not outside in, inside out. We're not going to listen to the negative voices. We're not going to listen to the naysayers. We're going to focus on what we can control every day. We're going to focus on being our best, doing the work, staying positive, executing our our vision and our business plan, right? And staying focused on that. And if we stay focused on that and we don't listen to the negative voices, we'll actually create success. So that's what they did. They focused internally, they stopped listening to the negative voices, and they started creating more and more success over time. And now they're having huge success. I wish I would have told them that you should pay me on the success that you have, but I didn't do that. But it was amazing for them to have. I just love seeing my teams and organizations I work with have success. But it was all about positive leadership. And then one final thing before we take questions, because I really want to make this interactive and have a conversation, is that great leaders build great relationships. I find so often we have a vision, but if you don't develop relationships with people on your team, they're not going to want to follow your vision. Always remember this: people follow the leader first and the vision second. So who you are and the relationship you have with your team is one of the most important things you can do to build great relationships. So how do we build great relationships? 4 C's, 4 simple C's: communicate, connect, commit, and care. Communicate, connect, commit, and care. Communication begins the process of building trust. Remember this: where there's a void in communication, negativity will fill it. So we always have to make sure we're filling the void with positive communication. Because if there's a void, negativity is going to fill the void. So as a leader, you have to communicate, not with just one person on your team, but everyone on your team. You have to collectively communicate, and you have to communicate one-on-one with each person. We also have to make sure we connect. Connection is where the bond of trust is developed and strengthened and earned. You earn trust by connecting with your team. Meaningful conversations and talking to them and really developing the relationship, letting them know that you're there for them. Why is connection so important? Because you'll never have commitment without connection. If you want your team to be more committed and engaged, you have to be more connected with them. The connection you have with them will breed a greater commitment in them. The more your team is connected with each other, the more committed they'll be with each other. And you can tell who's committed or not. When adversity hits, does the team run away from each other or do they run towards each other? You want to be a team that runs towards each other, that fights for each other, not against each other. So you want to make sure you're connecting and committing. And as a leader, here's what you do. Pick one person on your team each day to connect with in a meaningful way. One person, just every day, try to connect with one person every day in a meaningful way. If you have more time, do 3. But if you only could do 1, that's great. Just to connect with one person every day, develop that bond, develop those relationships. It's really important to build a great team, right? Because you got a project to create. You have a project to implement. Well, how do we implement a project? With people, right? It's with people who create results by working together. That's real teamwork. And as a leader, you have to make sure that you're fostering the connections, creating the commitment, and that brings us to commitment. You have to then commit to your team. Like, I am here for you. I am here to help you be your best. Like, they know that you have their back and you have their best interest at heart. Let me ask you a question. If you knew someone had your best interest at heart, would you be more open to their feedback? Of course you would, if you knew someone had your best interest. So let your team know that you have their best interest at heart, and they will be loyal to you and they will be more committed to you when you're committed to them. So it's the commitment that you have. I think about the people in my life who made a difference in my life, and they were the ones who were most committed to me, and they really cared about me. And that's the final C, is care. Great leaders care about the team that they're leading and the people that they're leading, and they show they care. But what does caring mean? 2 words is what I think of. When I think of care, I think of 2 words: love and accountability. In the US, we're talking more and more about love lately. Now, I don't mean love in the inappropriate way. Love in terms of value and relationships. Like, I see you, like namaste. I see you and you see that in me. It's namaste. So it's that. It's seeing that in the other person, right? So to me, that is the love that you're sharing with the other person. I see you, I value, I recognize you, and then from there, I can hold you accountable to the standards, to the culture, to the values and the principles. So these are our standards because we're here to do great work together. Yes, positive leadership is about being more positive and you can have fun and enjoy it, but we're here to do great work together and create greatness together. So I have to hold you accountable to that. But if you try to hold someone accountable without love, without seeing them and valuing them, they're going to lose interest. They're not going to be as engaged. But if they know you care about them and you love them and you value them, now you have a relationship where now I can challenge you and push you a little bit to say, hey, we have to achieve this together. Remember, this is our goal. These are our standards. This is what we're here to do. And once you're doing that, then you can truly create success together. So love and accountability. Yes, love in terms of value and relationship. Namaste. So that is really the key. What I find the best leaders do out of all the ones I've worked with, the greatest ones in the world, Alan Mulally is one of them who turned around Ford when they were losing $14 billion and had them profitable in a few short years. It was one of the greatest leadership feats in history, what he did and how he turned them around. And he told me, love and accountability, John. He said, you got to love them up, but you got to hold them accountable to what we're here to accomplish together. And he was very optimistic and he had a lot of positivity, a lot of belief. When a lot of people didn't think Ford could be turned around, he believed and he helped them turn, and he got them to turn around. And it was optimism and belief. If he didn't have that belief, if he didn't have that optimism, over 50,000 people would have lost their jobs. The company would have gone bankrupt. It shows the power of positive leadership. And he defined his leadership style as positive leadership. And so I'd say those are the key characteristics. Optimism and belief. They have a vision of where they're going, a purpose that drives them. They ignite their team. They rally their team towards that vision. They help that team see the bigger purpose. They then have the optimism and belief. They don't allow negativity to sabotage the team. And then they develop great relationships with communication, connection, commitment, and caring. And love and accountability brings it all together.
Yes, great.
Superb, sir. It is powerful message you have given to everybody. Sir, shall we start our question answer session?
John, can we start
Question answer?
That'd be great. Yes. Totally.
Yes. Sir, I wanted to ask a question. First of all, thank you so much. I wanted to express my gratitude from bottom of my heart for such a wonderful start, because for us it is morning. I'm so feeling delighted, because generally I start my session by saying good morning and happy thoughts. So happy thoughts, sir, and I think we are connected internally. Sir, I have a question. When we say positive thought, whether this is having any connection with the spiritual quotient, please explore and give some tips to students. That whether this is having any connection, that being going within, getting connected within, whether it is going to help to stay positive. Can you please throw some light on it?
I didn't hear that last part. I apologize. It was going in and out.
Okay. So do you want to repeat my question?
Yes.
Sir, actually my question is, I wanted to know whether there is any connection between spiritual quotient, or we can call it as spiritual intelligence, and positive, or staying positive.
So spiritual and positive.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I believe there's a huge part of it. I believe that it's the spiritual part of it that allows us to be positive, right? The more connected we are spiritually, right? The more connected spiritually we are, and the more clarity we have, the more love we have, the more connected we are spiritually. Yeah. I found it's almost like a pipeline, right? And
okay.
if you have heavy sludge in your pipeline, fear and anger and a lack of connection, then the positive energy can't flow through the sludge in the pipeline. Yeah. But spirituality is like surrendering, is removing the sludge from the pipeline, and then God, I call it God can move through, and as God moves through the pipeline, he moves through you, that starts to radiate through you. So it's sort of like conductor and resistor in electronics. In electronics, a resistor only has so many electrons. it holds on to its electrons, right? And so it only has so much power. The conductor actually gives and receives freely of its electrons. So the power comes from the actual current that moves through it, not its own power. And so to me, spirituality connects to our positivity in a big way. The more spiritual I became, the more positive I became.
Oh, excellent message. I request all the students to please note down this message because in this era of technology and going towards Industrial 4.0, we forget that there is one power, divine power, that is controlling everything. So we got this message from the world famous author and motivational speaker. So I think everybody should consider it as a first learning of today, that spirituality is extremely important and crucial. Now I open the forum to all the participants also to please ask question. Sir, we have a question in chat box from one of our faculty member.
It said, you mentioned communication as key in a team. Can you elaborate more on communication and what type of communication? All types of communication. That's a great question. But it's making sure that we actually have verbal communication where we're talking, because sometimes email communication is not the best. Texting communication is not the best. I think you need to text, you need to email, all forms, but nothing replaces the conversation that we can have by talking, whether it's using FaceTime, Zoom, some video conferencing software, or even just getting on a call and talking. But it's important to make sure we're having all kinds of communication. I'm also a big believer in team communication, where we come together as a team and we talk about things like once a week. I know one company, every Monday morning, they meet at 9 a.m. and they have a Monday morning 9 a.m. meeting where they talk about the important things of the week coming up. I know some companies, they meet every day, for 10 minutes a day and have important hands meeting, all employee meeting where they talk about everything. Each company is going to be different. Each team is going to be different. So there's no perfect rule, but the idea is to make sure we're taking the time for communication collectively and one-on-one. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. I have a question here. You talked about the tunnel, okay, which we need to break. And that tunnel is always with head and heart. Generally, our heart says something and our head thinks something which is not in line. And that is where the conflict occurs of a body. So how to tune this conflict to become positive?
Between head and heart?
Yes.
I believe that it's such a great question. I really never thought of it in terms of the alignment of that. Here's what I know. The heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain in terms of the magnetic field of the heart. We always say someone puts their heart into their work. Okay. We can feel their heart. They have a lot of heart. They have a lot of passion. So I believe the heart is the spiritual window. You connect through consciousness and through a spiritual world through the heart. All religious traditions talk about the heart, right? Okay. So the heart leads the way. Now the brain, right, is maybe more logical, right, and helps us to discern and so forth. But I do believe that the heart, caring and loving people, is important, but at the same time, right, we also have a job to do. We also have rules in place and regulations. And so I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's the combination of an alignment of head and heart that both serve an emotional connection, yes, and yet a logical, intelligent, smart way to go forward and to lead.
Yes.
So the way I can think about it, they're working together in tandem. Mm-hmm. But we all know we can be very logical and no heart, right? And so that's where we're accountability, no love, no heart. So the person doesn't feel connected or cared for, and maybe they won't be as productive as they can be. But if they know there's heart there and there's a connection, and then logically we're giving accountability, then from there they're more aligned to work harder for you.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know if that's your experience as well, but here in the US, we talk a lot about, are you heart connection?
Yes, I just want to elaborate to my students. Generally, when you will join the company, you need to be professional, right? And professional means you should do your job well, and you are paid for you to take decision at right time. So if you take a decision based on heart, that is emotional, you will not be that professional in meeting your targets, goals, and the things that you are supposed to do. So you need to be wise enough to take a call between head and heart. That is what I think is one of the bridge that we need to do, which I am doing. And yes, Manish.
That's really great advice.
Yeah.
That is really great advice. It's like this. You could have heart and a desire, but you also have to have talent to succeed.
Yeah. Yes.
So you want to be able to both use your heart and your talent. So where you can use both your talent and your heart, that's where you'll truly be successful.
Absolutely.
If you just have talent, but you don't really have love for what you're doing, you really never be great at it.
Yeah.
The famous opera singer Pavarotti was asked about his discipline that he has for his craft. And he said, everyone thinks it's discipline, but it's not discipline. He said it's devotion.
Oh.
And so he was so devoted to his craft that it drove his discipline to be great.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Here's a question. I want to ask you that sometimes we find people around us talk positively, but their behavior doesn't go with it. How can we take them positively instead of taking them in a negatively? Well, I agree. If that person talks positive but doesn't act positive, I call that false positive. I call that fake positive. So you have to be real and genuine, and your actions need to align with your words, because you'll have moral authority. You have moral authority, and you have a lot of power when your actions meet your words. When your actions are different than your words, then there's no alignment. And so we can't just talk the talk. We have to walk the walk. And so we have to live it and breathe it. And that's where a lot of times organizations want to create a great culture, but there's really no power and spirit and purpose behind the culture. They talk about the values, they talk about words, and they write them on walls, but they don't live and breathe them every day. I often say that every organization today has a mission statement, but only the great ones have people who are on a mission. Does that make sense? So you want to be on a mission to accomplish your goals where you're passionate and purposeful, achieving it together. So let's talk positive, but then let's also act positive. But also know that everyone is on a journey, and people aren't perfect. We all make mistakes. And so maybe your boss is stressed, even though he tries to be positive, but he's really stressed and doesn't act that way. The whole goal is, are we learning and growing and getting better along the way? And I think that's important. But it's just to know that not everyone's always going to be perfect or positive all the time. We are human. We do make mistakes. But that's where it's important to talk about it. If you're a leader, you want to ask your team, how well am I leading you? How well am I communicating with you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how well am I communicating to you? And then ask, what would make it a 10? You're going to get a lot of great feedback and ideas on how you can communicate better to your team and how they're receiving your communication. So I always like to ask for feedback, and I think it's great to ask for feedback. And then you empower your team to be successful. But also know this, you can't control everyone else. Like, you can't control everyone in the company. You can't say, well, so-and-so's not positive, they're not positive, right? They're not committed, that person's not committed. You focus on being positive. You focus on being connected. You focus on being committed. If everyone does that, you're all going to grow together. And if you're the only one who does that, you're going to stand out while others don't. And you're going to rise to the top in your profession because you stand out with these principles.
John, on this question, I just wanted to add how to communicate. I think is very important for a leader. If all the questions are related to negativity, I think assertive communication will play an important role. Can you throw some light about assertive communication?
What kind of communication?
Assertive.
Assertive?
Yeah.
Assertive?
Yes.
I mean, I think in today's world, assertive is more like, hey, here's our standards. This is our vision. This is our goals we have to meet. Talking about it as a team. You know, do you understand the vision? Do you understand the goals? Do you understand what we have to achieve? Yes, I understand. Okay, great. How do you want me to hold you accountable to achieving that? Ask, how do you want me to hold you accountable? Get feedback from them on how you want me to hold you accountable. Like, ask them, do you want to be great? Yes, I want to be great. All right, what do you think it takes to be great? All right, can I help you be great? Yes.
Okay, great.
Hello.
So now you're working. You're working with them to achieve something great together, but you're asserting that. I mean, I think that works better than saying, these are our goals. We have to work towards these goals and get busy. It's much more empowering to say, here are our goals that we have to meet. How do you feel about them? Are you ready to work together to achieve them? Do you want to be great? What do you need to do? And how can I help you be great? How can I hold you accountable? And get permission to challenge that person.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. John, there is one question. One of my students asked, do you do anything special to reach this success?
To reach the success?
Yeah. Do you practice anything special for achieving to this level of success? That question is there in the chat box.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't think it's anything special. I just have a lot of grit, grit, a lot of hard work, a lot of resilience, a lot of ability to keep going through rejection, adversity, and obstacles. For my books, I get a lot of spiritual ideas and downloads. God gives me the books and the stories I'm supposed to write. Wow. I'm obedient, and I write them. I write them in 3.5 to 4 weeks. So I can't take credit. I really believe it's supernatural to be able to do that. I have a very big mission and purpose, and I'm here to make a difference, and I care a lot. So I wrote a book called The Carpenter, and those are my keys to success. Those are the greatest success principles of all. Love, serve, and care. I love others, I look to serve, and I show I care. And I believe that's probably one of the reasons why I've achieved success and maybe sold, I think maybe 5 million books now.
Great.
Excellent message to all the students. Please note this, it is extremely important in this era of so many confusion and chaos and competition that is going on.
Oh,
thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, and someone asked about staying positive. Is there anything you do every day that has helped you success? Oh yeah, so every day though, I take a walk of gratitude. And while I walk, I say what I'm thankful for. And I find that abundance flows into your life when gratitude flows out of your heart. So I say what I'm thankful for as I'm walking. And the other thing I do every single day is I would say I just work to get better. I'm always working to improve and get better. I'm always working on my craft. And so I'm focusing every day on getting better and improving. And again, I faced a lot of rejection along the way. I had a lot of people told me I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to succeed. Rejected it, believing and kept going. And I wouldn't allow anyone else's opinion of me to define me. And so my positive energy was greater than their negativity. My belief and certainty was greater than their doubt. And I think that's really important.
John, for your information, our great super actor, superstar, Amitabh Bachchan, we call Big B, he was also rejected for his voice on Air Calcutta, that is Air India. And now he's famous for his voice. So you can become the same.
Exactly. Should we answer these other questions?
Sir, there are so many questions in chat box. Can I read it for you?
Oh yeah, I can read it. You said that before, we have to be positive for achieving our goals for success, but without being negative, How can we compete with our rivals? We have to be wise sometimes. Oh, yes. I mean, being positive doesn't mean you're not being wise. You're always wise. It doesn't mean that you don't work hard or work to win. Like a sports team wants to beat the other team. But the more positive you are as a team, the more you're likely to win. And so it's competition. We're competing against our rivals, and we want to do things better than them. And I believe it's the positivity that helps us do things better than them. When we talk about negativity, I don't know what forms of negativity you're talking about, but there's always going to be some conflict within a team. We have to have some conflict because someone's not doing something right, and we have to address issues. We're always going to have some fights and some issues. Great teams fight, just so you know. Great organizations, great teams fight. But the fighting doesn't hurt the team because they have connection and commitment, and they're focused more on their purpose and their vision of winning together than the little fights they have along the way. If there's no trust and there's no respect, then the fighting will hurt the team. So you're going to have some negativity as part of a team. Life is about the balance of positive and negative, but we do need more positive interactions than negative interactions on teams. Teams that have a ratio of 3-to-1, positive to negative interactions, perform at a higher level. 5-to-1, 7-to-1. The team performs at a higher level. Same thing with marriages and relationships as well. So if you start fighting with your significant other, just make sure you need some more positive interactions, right? If you get to 13-to-1, the team will fall apart because no one's dealing with the real issue. So too much positivity isn't good if you're never dealing with the real issue. So just know that this is not Pollyanna positive. This is not about fake positivity. This is not about seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. This is knowing that you have the power to overcome the thorns, okay, of that rose, get it? And so we have the power to stay positive through our challenges. So again, we want to win. We're going to compete. We're going to do things that drive to have success and win, and it's going to be positivity along the way. Now, the love of competition, the love of your business, the love of what you're working on, that love is greater than any fear and any negativity. So you're much more successful when you're loving something versus fearing something. You'll never build anything great with fear. Fear doesn't last. What we build with love endures, right? And so it's the love that drives us to be great.
Sir, there is one more question that is asked in the chat box. Why media is focusing more on negativity instead of positivity? It's a good question, I think.
Is your media focusing on negativity as well?
Yes.
Our media in the US is focusing on a lot of negativity. And
yeah.
Every day I post on social media, I'm not buying the doom and gloom. I'm investing in faith, hope, and love. And so I post that all the time. I believe that the negativity of the media is a major distraction. And I believe that in this world, this is my thoughts, my beliefs. I believe there's a battle of good versus evil. And I believe that we're facing a battle of evil right now. And we win the battle by focusing on the good and by focusing on the positive, not the negative. And I think there's just a battle going on. And I don't know why there's so much negativity in the media, but I think there's like a virus, not the coronavirus, but an idea virus that is very negative right now, and it's sabotaging people.
So they want to make money by using negative.
What, I didn't hear that.
No, the media people want to make money by making people negative.
Well, I think the more, we say in the United States, the more it bleeds, the more it leads. And so the more fear they sell, the more people will watch and buy into the fear. So they're always trying to sell fear. And so I believe they're trying to get you to watch, trying to get you to tune in, trying to get you to be scared. And I believe that the media does that a lot. And it does it a lot with a lot of different things. But I've never seen it this much and this powerful during this time.
Very true.
So one of our students wants to know, when you wrote the first book, at the time, how old were you, and how long it took to write the first book?
I was The Energy Bus was the first book, and I wrote it in 3.5 weeks. It's a fable, a story, and I was 35 years old. I'm now 49 years old.
Oh. Okay.
Hopefully you think I look 35.
You're looking younger than that. With your energy, with the positive energy which you are, giving to everybody. So you are younger than that. That's what
Yeah, I love
my
that. Yeah,
comment.
I tell my daughter I refuse to age. My daughter is 22 years old. She graduated from Clemson University.
Oh, great.
Great.
Okay, what other questions do we have?
Just a moment, sir. Let me check. So they're not accepting your age.
They're not accepting it?
They are saying that you're not looking, doesn't look like 49, sir.
Tell them thank you very much. Tell them that's what positive energy does.
Sir, there is one question which is asking you, how can you change a person with full of negative to full of positivity? From Susmita Majumdar.
How can I turn someone from negative to positive?
Positive, yeah. That is the question.
Someone who is negative?
Yes. How can we convert a person who is full of negative to positive?
You basically, the key is to know that you can't make them positive, but you can encourage them. You could I became more positive as a person. And so my natural response now is not negative like it used to be. Now it's more positive. So I am naturally negative. I have to work at it. And my dad is naturally negative. So I learned how to deal with my dad, who was always negative. And I would always just respond with positivity. And over time, I saw him become more positive. Bring you down. As Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. So we want to make sure that we're not letting anyone getting us down. We are going to be more positive than the negativity we face.
Thank you so much, sir. We have one more question, which is a student called Sandhya. She's asking what you suggest to follow in a daily life to be happy and positive and keep away from such people with negativity. Do you have any suggestions or tips which you wanted to give it to us to remain positive?
So here's the thing. Don't just run away from negative people, because someone has to help the negative people be more positive, and show them what it looks like. So love the negative people and work on your own positivity so much that say, I'm going to be so positive that the people around me are going to become more positive. And so I'm going to be positively contagious. We have a virus that's negatively contagious.
Yes.
But positivity is contagious. Hope is contagious. Love is contagious. kindness is contagious. So I'm going to work to be more positive around everyone. And every time I encounter someone who's negative, I'm not going to allow that person to affect me. And so I'm going to continue every day to feed myself with positivity so that I have a strong positive force field around me where their negativity cannot penetrate.
So there's one.
So one
Thank you
question.
so much.
So once again, one question from YouTube. One of the participants has posted the same question: how to stay positive in panic and stressed situations?
Practice.
Excellent answer.
The more we work on being positive in stressful situations, the more we will be able to handle them in a better way. I used to not handle stressful situations good. The more you do it, the better you will get. Over time, the more you, in those stressful moments, deep breath, think about how grateful you are to be alive in this moment, because life is short. We don't know when we're going to die. Life is short. Enjoy this moment, deep breath, and then you can be more positive as you move forward. You cannot be stressed and thankful at the same time. So anytime you're in a stressful situation, start practicing gratitude. I'm thankful that I'm in this moment right now. Even though it's hard, I'm thankful that I'm alive. My mom passed away 14 years ago. She was 59. So my mom doesn't get to live anymore, but I do. So every day is a gift, not an obligation. So I'm not going to allow this stressful moment. I also believe that stress means that you're not trusting spiritually, that you're trying to do it all yourself. The more you trust, the more you pray, the more you will feel peace. And so you can pray and trust in those moments to feel more peace. So yeah, I'm trying to think. Are you able to read some of these books in India or no?
Yes, sir. Even in library,
Yes,
we are
sir.
subscribed.
It is there in our library, and we in India we have crosswords. There also we have senior books.
Okay, I was just curious. Someone asked me, what's your decision-making style?
Decision making. Yeah.
My decision-making style. I use my gut as my decision-making style. I trust my gut and my intuition. But I'm also probably processing in my mind while trusting my gut. Does it feel right? And then logically, does the feeling make sense? Should I trust that feeling? Is the feeling logically right? So it's probably gut first, and then mind checking to make sure the gut is right.
And so there's one more question asked by once again by Rahul. He's saying how you select your topic of your book. Is it based on the need of what people require, or the message I wanted to tell them to be positive to achieve goal? How you decide your topic? That's what he has asked.
Yeah, so I get an idea for the book. I sort of get a vision, just comes to me. And then, like for Power of Positive Leadership, I was thinking about what makes great leaders great. So I've worked with a lot of leaders over the years. So I wanted to write a book about what makes a great leader and what makes a positive leader. So I created a framework on what is involved in being a positive leader. So that became the framework for the book. And then from there, it was about telling stories and principles. So for me, it's always principle, story, application. What's the principle? A story that brings the principle to life, and then how you could apply it. Principle, story, application. And so I would say that that got me started in terms of writing a book like that, a framework like that. And then it just flows. The fables that I write, which are stories, and you learn lessons through the fable, that's just a different kind of, I get an idea, I start writing, and the story starts to unfold, and the lessons start to unfold. It's very hard to describe. It's a very unique process. Everyone's going to be different. How does a painter paint? How does a musician create music and songs, right? For me, the ideas come, and then based on experiences and what is needed out there, like I meet people, I work with organizations, I start to see an issue, and if something keeps coming up to me a lot, coming up for me, I know that I'm supposed to then write something about that. So, and by the way, everyone could follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, at John Gordon 11, JON Gordon 11, and also, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter. I write a weekly positive tip every week, free, and I share a positive tip every week. I've been writing it since 2002, so 18 years now. And you can sign up for that if you want to receive my weekly positive tip. And that way you'll get more of my thoughts and ideas and things that I share out there.
Sir, there is one question from Dr. Sudhir. It is related to, can you share any best practice by any top industry leader who is following this approach of positivity?
They're all in my book, The Power of Positive Leadership. There's so many examples. Alan Mullally, who I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Dabo Sweeney, who, Donna Orender, who took over the WMBA and led that successful company. Jamie Kern Lima is a friend of mine, and she just sold her company, It Cosmetics, to L'Oreal. And she has a new book coming out called Believe It. And she's all about positivity. She sold her company for $1.2 billion. Ooh. And so she's an amazing leader. So there's many industry leaders, but Power of Positive Leadership, you'll read that, you'll learn a lot of great examples of leadership. Remember, leaders or readers? Leaders or readers? You have a library available at your disposal, and you can read it anytime and grow and learn. And reading is a great way to learn and grow and get better.
Great message. Manisha, Tanmay's question?
It's a Tanmay's question. It is not seen. That's what actually I was searching. Tanmay, can you please post, or you can unmute and speak?
But someone asked if they want to be an author. If you want to be an author, guess what? Write. Writers write. Don't worry about getting published. Don't worry about writing a famous book. Just write. I wrote The Energy Bus before I had a publisher. I just sat down and wrote it. And then you say, all right, I have something. How can I publish this now? So write it first. Create it first. Writers write. And then if it's worthy and valuable and people benefit from it,
I'm talking about the whole. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tanmay, you can speak.
Yes, sir. This world is filled with negativity, and I'm not talking about the whole, but the ratio is not quite well. So what's your views on it? Hello?
Sir, his question is, he's saying that this world is filled up with completely negativity, and the ratio of negativity is far more larger than the positivity. Then what is your opinion and views about this?
It's a very great question, and it's a great observation. There's a book called Power versus Force, where David Hawkins says that 80% of the population vibrates to a negative frequency. Only 20% vibrates to a positive frequency. But if the 20% weren't positive, the world will self-destruct. And so we need that 20% positive to counteract the 80% negativity. Now, it seems like negativity is more powerful, but it's not. It's just more prevalent. There's just more negative people. So we need more positivity to counteract the negativity. But positivity is so much more powerful. When you walk into a room and it's dark and you turn on the light, what happens? The darkness dissolves. So the light is more powerful than the darkness. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, very good.
So here's what we do. And I have to leave, but I want to close with this. I think this is really good to close because this sums up your question about what do we do with all the negativity. The world is like a big pot of boiling hot water. And when you put a carrot into hot water, what happens to the carrot? Anyone know water? Very hot water. It gets softened.
Softened.
We can be like the carrot and allow our environment, all the negativity, to weaken us. We could be like the egg. When you put an egg into boiling hot water, what happens to the egg?
It gets boiled.
Hardened.
Inside.
Hardened. It gets,
boiled.
It gets hardened, boiled egg, but it gets hardened. We can be like an egg and get angry and bitter where we don't care. We can become like the world and become negative and angry because of the heat and the pressure and how negative and bad everything is. Or we could be like the coffee bean. And you put a coffee bean into boiling hot water, guess what happens? Within an hour, even if it's not ground up, it makes coffee. If it's ground up, it makes coffee very quickly. And so the coffee bean turns the water into coffee. So the coffee bean is not impacted by its environment like the carrot egg. Instead, the coffee bean transforms its environment. And that's what leadership is all about. That's what positive leadership is all about. Positive leaders transform the environment that it's in, and they change it from negative to positive. So yes, the world is negative, but you can create your world with your team, with your organization. You can make it positive. That's what I've done every day during this time. My team, we're staying positive. We're working hard. We're making a difference. I'm accepting things like this that I would probably be too busy to do. I'd be way too busy to do something like this because I'd be on the road all the time traveling and speaking. But because I've had more time, I can say yes to this. So I'm being a coffee bean right now, impacting the environment that I'm in. Hopefully you're being impacted in some way by this. So do you want to be a carrot? Do you want to be the egg? Or do you want to be the coffee bean? And being a positive leader is all about being a coffee bean that transforms the environment. I think about India. I think about Gandhi. I think about the British government. You obviously know your history, but think about it. One man who I think he weighed about 90 pounds was able to defeat the entire British Empire. Why? Because the power within him was greater than all the negative forces outside of him. And the power within you is greater than all the forces that you face. You just have to remember that you have that power. And yes, it may not happen overnight. It may take years and years. It took my book 5 years to be a bestseller. It took me years to become a success. But every day you show up and you do the work. And over time, you create more and more of an impact, more and more of a ripple effect, where you ripple effect and you impact more and more people around you. And then your influence grows as a result of being a coffee bean. I hope that makes sense.
Sure. Great.
Excellent insight, sir.
John, I will like to give some guidance and we'll close now. Thank you very much. With the students, when you are going to be great leaders, every leader has 3 important words to remember. The first one is the leaders have authority to work and get the things done. They are responsible in the organization for their jobs and duties assigned to them, and they are accountable for the success of the organization. And therefore, in order to drive these 3 words and carry them positively, they have to use different types of leadership. The first leadership is I leadership, that is bureaucratic. Sometimes it is we, which is autocratic, and otherwise you, that is democratic. When you will learn these things, situational leaders are more successful. It is not necessary that one particular formula will work for a problem to solve for a leader. You need to blend the autocratic, bureaucratic, and democratic. That is I style of leadership, we style of leadership, and you style of leadership. Yes, you are authorized to work. You are responsible for the work. But very importantly, when you are working in a team, you are accountable so that with the 4 C's that John has talked about, you need to be emotionally professional to be successful leader. Thank you, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it all. It was great being with you all tonight. Or this morning.
John, with your permission, I just wanted to, practice on what you said. You said that you do gratitude exercise every day, and I wanted to do it in front of you. On behalf of entire participants, I'm extremely, thankful for your actions, for your wisdom you share with us, for your thoughts. We are thankful to your writings. We are thankful to this technology. We are thankful, to each and everything that supported us to connect with you in spite of such a long miles. And I'm also thankful to coronavirus because that gave us and forced us to conduct all these kind of online sessions. So I'm really thankful, and I'm thankful to all the participants and all the faculty members and all the students who are here and receiving this great vibration from John Gordon. We are really fortunate, to receive all these inspiring thoughts. What I observed, Mr. John, when you spoke, it was from within. And even you didn't said a word, that vibration has transferred and connected with us. You have a mission that you wanted to touch the life of so many people. And I think today you have touched within. And I'm extremely thankful for everything you said today in this morning. And thank you so much for your auspicious time and your energy and the enthusiasm and the motivation and the inspiration which you have given to us. Thank you so much. And John, I think we will definitely, wanted to associate with you in terms of spreading this positive and happy thoughts. I'm so thankful for everything you have given, and thanks to Jayashree ma'am for connecting John with us.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you so much to Jayashree ma'am.
A great namaskar from us to you. And actually, we have exceeded 20 more minutes of yours time. Sorry for that. We apologize for it.
Yes,
It's okay. It was worth it. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much, and namaste, sir.
Thank you. Do our positive leadership. We have a training program. You could do it and then bring it back to India.
Sure.
Yes, sir, definitely we will.
Sure.
Do it.
We'll bring you back to India once.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Great. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sir, good night. I think students, you all got a very good insight. And so I think we are in right path by starting every session of us with, by wishing everybody as good morning and happy thoughts. So once again, warm good morning and happy thoughts. Do you all agree to this? If
Yes, ma'am. Warm good morning and happy thoughts. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. I'm so happy, that we are going on the same line. And I feel that it is my responsibility to communicate to all the students who are here in this platform to please practice meditation at least for 5 minutes a day. So that's going to help you to remain positive even in this chaos and confused situation. I think with this, I request Jayashree ma'am to please conclude the session. Propose vote of thanks for this session.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Good morning to one and all. I thank all the participants all over India for participating, for trusting us and joining this session. And another surprise to you is we are having another international speaker from 12 to 1. He is going to talk about on the topic how to think differently and do differently. He's going to talk about entrepreneurship and startup. So we request all of you to join the session. We have already shared the link. If you didn't get the link, please ping us or mail us. We'll share the link to you. Please join the session. Thanks a lot. Now we are concluding this session. We are signing off from this session, and at 12 o'clock we'll join in the second session.
And I request all the participants to please fill the feedback link so that you will receive the certificate for this session. So wish you all the best. Wishing you a bright, marvelous, miraculous energy. With this, we'll conclude the session. Bye and happy thoughts.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You, ma'am.
Harshal sir, unmute मत कर लीजिए ना. Mr. Binod Sinha, can you please send your email? Mr. Binod Sinha, can you please send your email? Harshal sir, please don't end the session. I'll share the link to. Good afternoon to one and all. Manisha ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Ma'am, can we start?
Yeah, we should start. I think a speaker is there already. Yes.
Yes.
So we will start.
Sandesh sir, she is our HOD, Advocate Manisha Kulkarni.
Hi.
Ma'am,
Hello.
can you...
Good morning. Welcome to our institute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Bottom of my heart. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
Okay. Yes, actually we had one great session in the morning.
Okay.
By John Gordon. He is the author of Positive You and Positive Leadership. So student took a break. So they are still joining. So we'll start in within 2 minutes.
No issues. I'll wait. No problem.
No, it is since it is from the American timing, no sir. Like we started in the morning, early morning by 9:30. Like we started at 9:30. So on later there was a lecture. Students went for lecture.
Okay.
After that they're joining.
So how is it been now? Like the online education, online learning?
Yes, students are responding.
As far as education sector is concerned, I think there are no major changes. But I will consider this pandemic as an opportunity because this forced us to think about online.
Absolutely.
We all management faculty fraternities were aware that online is it will be the future, but still we never forced ourselves to see ourselves in the online. We were not very much comfortable, but because of this pandemic, this forced us to do it. Now we all are comfortable to it because we had no choice.
I think the best part is because of this whole online, right? You can do so many stuff. You can probably even moving forward, you can use the classroom to a lot of interactive sessions and just use the online for lectures and sessions or something like that. So I think it's kind of an opportunity. I think because I have been working with schools and universities, especially in the technology space, for almost now 15 years. And trust me, the schools took a lot of time to understand and to accept technology and what all they can do with this technology. Not just India; it's everywhere. It's everywhere is the same scenario.
I think now the students are also getting accustomed to this education and the culture of online education.
Exactly.
And what I even in the morning I was wondering, because of this, we can connect with a person who's sitting at Sydney and a person sitting at California, and the student can get the best out of it.
Exactly.
That's what I feel it.
I mean, even moving forward, right? Even these are some of the sessions you should be continuing regularly because last month we did one workshop with some space guys, and that was for school kids. And you won't believe I had around 150 students, out of which 60 students were from India, and there were students from Malaysia, Israel, and I mean, nothing. I mean, you don't even have to spend too much, right, for this thing.
Yes.
So it's a very cost-effective and more impactful, than the regular sessions. Imagine just to do this kind of an event physically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's practical. Logistically it is very tough. Now you can just do it easily. There's no harm in that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what I consider it as an barring certain examinations for the final year students remaining all the time, because throughout the lockout we continued with the session. Rather, we gave more sessions to the students. Some additions.
In fact, we feel that we work more when it is online.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
So it's an interesting phase, yeah.
And not only the students, but also for the faculty members, we all got an opportunity to attend lot of sessions, faculty development programs.
Exactly.
We explored ourselves in various dimensions, because the session was in the evening. Entire day we used to, engage our students. After 4 to 5 hours, we also got an opportunity to update and upgrade ourselves, so that we can connect with the students.
Exactly.
That was there. So Jayashree ma'am, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all. Now I request Twinkle to introduce the speaker.
I, Twinkle, welcomes the eminent resource person, Mr. Sandesh Shetty, our director, Dr. Abhay Kulkarni, sir.
Twinkle, little bit louder, please.
I, Twinkle, welcome the eminent resource person, Mr. Sandesh Shetty, our director, Dr. Abhay Kulkarni, sir, our HOD ma'am, Manisha ma'am, fraternity of IICMR, faculty and participants and aspiring leaders all over India. We first thank Mr. Sandesh Shetty for accepting our invitation and sparing his valuable time to address the audience. Mr. Sandesh Shetty is the co-founder and chief business strategist Explico PT Ltd, Singapore. With Explico, our vision is to make it one of the sought after platform by bringing students from different regions to a single coexisting learning environment in leading institution and organization more than 16 years in the prime role. He has versatile experience in the field of education as well as hospitality industry. Now I request Mr. Sandesh Shetty to address the audience on the topic do things differently. Over to you, sir.
Okay, hey, thanks, Twinkle, for a nice introduction. So first of all, am I audible? Very loud and clear, right? So is there any disturbance or anything?
No, sir, you're very much audible.
Okay, thanks again. Thanks giving me an opportunity to speak to all the students of IICMR. It's always fun, interacting with the younger guys, because they are full of ideas. They are full of thoughts. They are not bounded by any responsibilities. So the mind is more open. So I always go back to colleges and schools and talk to them, because I get a lot of ideas from them. So I don't know what you get it from this session, but this is something which probably I can just share all my thoughts and views. I can share what has been happening, how you can think a bit differently. What are some of the mistakes you should avoid? Because those are the mistakes which we have done in the past. So I can definitely share it with you. But most importantly, I want it to be more interactive session. So I want as much question as possible from your side. More or less, I can answer anything, academic, non-academic, out of the box, personal, professional. Any questions you can shoot out. Second, if anybody wants to on their videos, please be free, because otherwise I'll be just talking to the screen. Sometimes I'm not so much used to the online event. I usually like the face-to-face. So I would request everyone, if they want to on their videos, it would be fantastic. Thanks, Piyush. He just messaged me, nice beard. Okay, so this is one of the benefit of being an entrepreneur. I'll tell you the reason why. Later during my slide. So thanks. I've been trying to grow this beard for a long time. So I think the lockdown helped me out. So let me share my screen. Okay, I hope you're able to see the screen, right? So
yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Keep your audios whenever you want to speak. Just unmute yourself. Be very open. Make it a more candid one. I just don't want to be like a one person talking for 45 minutes. I want to make it more interactive. So I always start with this first statement, which is something we always felt. If everybody has certain dreams, right? I mean, you college guys must be thinking that, okay, I should have a Ferrari, or I should have, go to this all exotic locations, travel, and all those things. These are your dreams. And how do you build this? How you're going to achieve those things is something which you need to decide at this moment. A right age, because you're all MBA students, this is the perfect age where you really have to think about the next 10 years of your life. And the next 10 years is going to be the most important part of your life because it will determine the rest of your future. So I would all request everyone to make a nice note of yourself, what you're going to do for the next 10 years. So this is a nice statement. If you don't build your dreams, you'll end up working for somebody else who will build his own dream. So very interesting statement, but it's a quite impactful statement which you need to look at. Okay, thanks Jungal for a nice introduction, but let me just brief you what who Sandesh Shetty is. I'm not a celebrity. I'm still a founder of a startup which we recently started. But I've spent 16 years in education space. I've worked in technology. I've worked with universities. I've worked with schools. I've worked with even government projects on skilling and education. I've worked with many of the institutes in Africa and Southeast Asia. But the best part is the entrepreneurship thought process and that whole feeling was always there at the back of my mind. So my first job was actually for a startup, and I was very excited. Looking at two young guys who started their own company, and I wanted to join them. And I told them I don't need salary also. I'm ready to work for free for next 5 months. And that is where the whole entrepreneurship journey began. So that is my entrepreneurship training, you could say. So no need to do a specific course. It's something you join a startup, you feel the pain, you feel the pressure. And we went through all those kind of a pressure, and that helped me to build my own individuality especially towards entrepreneurship. Then I went on to taking up a couple of jobs. Then I started my own company, and then it failed miserably. It was a bit horrible financially as well as mentally, physically, everything. It was a bit stressful for me. I just came out of it. I took up another job, moved to Singapore. I took a job, and then immediately after 6 months, I just went back to the startup industry again. The reason for saying all those things is because that is something which I always wanted to achieve from the first day itself, and I always felt that I won't be able to work under anyone. So I tried my level best to to work for certain companies, the big ones, but that satisfaction and happiness I never used to get. And I always wanted to create something where I could create a huge brand and which could be beneficial to a larger audience. And that's when I started Explico. Explico is a Singapore-based startup. We started last year, but we have been working for almost 1.5 years. Now we are launching. We have already launched in Singapore, and so far it's been done good. We have been appreciated by a lot of companies. In fact, the Amazon has accepted us for the Head Start program, making us one of the overall 80 companies they have selected so far, especially in the education. So that's a kind of achievement we have. So now at the stage when you are and you hear a lot of stories about startup, you hear a lot of stories about entrepreneurship, you talk about millions, billions, you see everybody's raising money, there is a lot of investment happening, especially India is so big. Most of you must have thought that what you're going to do after your MBA. What is are you going to plan to take up certain jobs? Or are you going to take up some, entrepreneurship, or dad's business, what it is? Like, I know these are some of the thoughts which I think probably you must have accumulated for yourself. And this is the important thing which you have to look back and try to figure out what is the right way to get into this kind of a career. So I'll be specifically talking about what entrepreneurship is all about. Of course, this is something which you cannot teach anyone. The only thing you can do is you can just share the certain views and thought process. And it's something which has to come within. And, like you said that, no, I just want to, start off my own. So the best feeling is when somebody asks a question, what do you do in life? So I say, I run a startup. It's a nice feeling, But the effort which goes, just to say that particular statement is huge. It's not going to be an easy task. Of course, you have so much money and a lot of lavish life in the future, but the first 3 years practically takes almost 15 years of a job. So if you are ready to put the effort of 15 years of job in the next 3 years, then that's the right way to get into a startup. It's not definitely not going to be an easy task. So when I say who is an entrepreneur, so let's understand two different dynamics, because that is more important, because I've seen a lot of people say entrepreneur and businessman are two similar things. Are they two different identities? This is the most important part which you need to understand. So somebody is running a say a hotel or a restaurant or maybe a company. Usually we don't call them an entrepreneur. They're actually a businessman. So what is the specific definition of both the things? So business one is something who does not spend time on buying and selling a product. So he has nothing to do with the product. The one who does not spend too many time on creating a certain product, but is trying to take a product which is already there in the market and is involved in buying and selling. So usually we call them as a business, guys. Entrepreneur is somebody who comes up with a very new idea, completely develops the product, he buys, he sells. Other ones we call it as an entrepreneur. So the major difference, another major difference which you see is like, businessmen are basically, they never take a high risk, because they will try to pick up something which is very similar, which is successful. For example, I just taken KFC franchisee or a McDonald's franchisee or maybe Starbucks franchisee because that is something which works fine, which is successful. I just try to pick those ideas and try to take a franchisee and run the business. So there is no high risk involved. It's something which is already proven that it works. Whereas an entrepreneur is something completely different. Entrepreneurs are the ones who actually come up with their own idea. So when they try to build something very new, very niche, they have to spend a lot of time in creating the product, creating a strategy, and the risk is definitely high because